With very little time, all of us. There's only so much you can do in a lifetime. Does that sometimes keep you up at night? Does it? If so, we have a coming starting point. I'm Markus Witte, CEO at Babbel, and I'm worried. I'm worried that we are worrying about the wrong things, about unicorns, about becoming one or not, about disruption, disrupting a market or being disrupted. And behind all these ideas, behind all that, is the central meaning of exclusive benefit. And exclusive benefit means that my win is your loss, that everything I gain, you lose. This is the worldview that's behind land grabs, behind the idea of disruption, and behind the deal. The deal is the thing that has two sides, a winner and a loser. And everybody subscribing to this worldview wants to be on the winning side. And all that's done is struggle to be on the winning side of that deal. To be able to say, I'm president and you're not. That's very convincing, right? What else could be true? How could this not be true, given the scarcity of resources? The whole ideology of exclusive benefits just vanishes when we focus on things where our interests are not conflicting. And the deeper we go into things that we actually care about, that actually make a difference in our lives, the more this is the case. So the more we go into thinking about purpose, the more we are collaborating. And purpose is a big word. It is a big thing, I think, because it gets us away from the struggle one against each other, from the struggle of the deal where we fight about resources that seem to be scarce, and it focuses on things that make all our lives better, where my win is your win. And be honest, these are most of the things that really matter, right? Because who wants to live behind high fences and die alone having the most toys? We learned this at Babbel, and I think there's something in that learning that's worth sharing. Before I do that, and I want to share this as a kind of a case study. Before I do that, I'll give you some little background about Babbel as a company and as a product. Babbel is the app that gets people speaking foreign languages. It's meant for everybody, and it should work for everybody, also for people who say, I'm not really good at learning languages, people like me. It's the top-grossing language learning app in the App Store, with more than 1 million paying customers. Babbel as a company has 500 employees here in Berlin and in our offices in New York. So there was some success in what we were doing. And we always had the impression that we know why we do this. But we never got to the point where we actually wrote it down and tried to nail it. Because we thought mission statements, they are usually boring or phony. And the general perception of wanting to make the world a better place feels like something that fits to a Silicon Valley fintech company rather than to us. Because we felt purpose for us very clear. It's self-explanatory. But then, beginning of last year, we started a process internally to really nail down why are we here? What do we actually want to do? And this process took way longer than I thought and I hoped, because we needed to get a lot of people involved. One of the things that we did, one of the things that I enjoyed most is I asked everybody joining the company, why are you here? And I'm still doing that. And over time, we condensed it and we played around with many silly statements. And what we came up with in the end is 3 very basic and very powerful concepts. And they were new for us. There's everyone. The democratic idea that we're not in a niche market and building something for a select few. We're building something for everyone. We really want to make an impact with that. Learning, of course, is the beating heart of what we do. We not only build a learning product, but we're also learning ourselves. What sets us apart as a company is that we never thought we have the perfect solution. We always thought we have a problem we have to tackle, and we change directions so many ways. And we are still learning as a company and as individuals. And then there's a typo in the word languages, which happens even in language learning companies. Languages is what we love. The diversity of languages, the multiplicity of languages. Languages help us to talk across geographies, across our differences. And that's what we really care about. So these 3 basic things get us out of bed every morning. And surprisingly, this is more or less the literal translation of the first basic marketing claim that we had almost 10 years ago. In German, it was Sprachen lernen für jedermann. Language learning for everyone. This is basically that. So it was not something completely new, still it took an awful long time to get there. Now from this mission statement, from this purpose, we developed a strategy that was surprisingly cooperative. And this is how we got to it. An app is pretty good to learn languages, whether you're an absolute beginner or pretty far advanced. It's a great thing. I can only recommend learning languages with an app. But what we see in our customers is that once they proceed and once they get to a higher proficiency level, they add other language learning methods. We talked about that, and we found out we actually can recommend that. It's actually good. So if you have the chance, on top of learning with an app, go to a language school, get a tutor, watch movies in your learning language and TV shows. This is all very, very good. Listen to music in your learning language. So these are great things. And from there we thought, what do we make of it? Well, pretty quickly we found out we don't have to do it ourselves. We knew we had to change our ways from just concentrating on building a language learning app. But we also saw that in this space there's a lot of great businesses. Many of them are not very digital, but almost all of them, at least many, deliver customer value way better than I think we could. So why should we try to disrupt their market, to destroy their business? Why shouldn't we just partner up? If we really care about our customers, this is what we should do. And we actually believe that this cooperation can create more value for our customers than any kind of disruption. And for that, we need long-lasting, mutually beneficial partnerships. That was what we learned from having a clear mission statement. It got us out of the idea of trying to compete with everybody who has a similar business. And interestingly, it didn't stop there. Also, to the inside, it made a difference to have a clear, outspoken purpose, because we could rely way more on everybody finding their way towards that purpose. We needed less directive management. We were always a pretty participatory company, but from beginning of last year on, where we started talking about these things, we have introduced a lot of formats that are for eye-level participation and collaboration. We have become more cooperative, not only to the outside, but also to the inside. So we've learned something over this journey. And what we've learned, I think, is not only true for us. What we've learned is a clear purpose helps us to refocus our attention. It helps us to think more about cooperation in all areas than about deals and disruption. And I think this is not only true for companies or inside of companies or between companies. I think this is true for all our lives. I really believe that this can make a difference on all levels if we keep that in mind. And purpose is always there. It's there from the beginning. We don't have to invent it. The only thing that we have to do, all of us, is to keep in mind how little time there is and to worry about the right things. Thank you.
We have time for a couple of questions. All right, way in the back. Let's see, is my black box going to get to you faster? No? Okay, we're going to go here. Woo.
Hello. Hi. So you mentioned a few partnerships, but you didn't go into that. Do you have any hints to give about what you intend to have?
Yeah, it's different areas in the language learning field. For instance, there's language schools, pretty distributed field. First, when we started pretty long ago, language schools were worried about us, and they thought we were trying to eat their lunch. Over time, they saw that their students actually use Babbel, and today they are eager to cooperate. There's also certification, for instance, which is a matter of authority, not only in tech, but also in languages. You want a seal on your certificate, that matters. There's language travel, there's tutoring, all kinds of things that you can use to learn a language. And on top, there's all this media stuff that you want to have as a user, music in the language, movies, TV series. That's the kind of business I'm talking about. And one thing will go live, actually, that is the first official cooperation is next month. That's with Cambridge English Language Assessment for certification.
Awesome. Go ahead and throw the box to this gentleman here.
Hello. I realized on the App Store that you have like a lot of apps from Babbel to learn like a specific language. And I wanted to ask you if you like trying to go in another way than Duolingo, that you have one app for every language there is, like they have. Mm-hmm. Is there like a marketing strategy or which way you're going to, or if you can?
That is more due to the nature of the App Store than to what we're doing. There is actually a Babbel app that you can use to learn all the languages, but people don't search for learn languages, they search for learn Spanish. And they are looking for an app to learn Spanish with and not an app to learn languages with. And in the App Store, this currently you can't really phrase that in the right way, so it's not really our choice.
Okay, thank you.
Another question up here at the front.
Thank you. I'm wondering, I'm hearing very good examples how you use the feed from all parts of the process, like the input from the areas you cooperate with, and the input from the users using the data and their feed, how you feed it in your business. My question is, you have two main areas to deal with internally, the developers, so the tech guys, and the language teachers. And I am an ex-language teacher coming from an IT company, so I wonder how you integrate their views when you improve the processes within the company.
I think there's two questions in there. One is a diversity question. And the truth about diversity is it makes us stronger, and that's one of our core values at Babbel, but it's not easy always. Of course, also between developers and language teachers, there's usually a gender difference, very often at least. What we found is that both have to work together very closely. And many of the language learning companies, especially from the app side, that start with a solution that's made by techies. Because they don't see hundreds of years of research and practice in the language learning field. And honestly, that's what we did. We were 4 techies starting a language learning company without any idea how you do that. It was a terrible thing. And after a time, and that goes back to the learning company, after a time we found out this is not working. So we got teachers in, and there was quite a battle between teachers and product people and engineers. And what we learned is you need to go through that friction and really build something new, not just take what is there in the classroom, try to make it online, or build a nice app that you can learn a language with. It's not easy. It's kind of these things that where you have to reinvent stuff.
Okay. Next question.
Hi, I was wondering if you are focusing on improving the app for specific languages, or you're trying to expand also the number of languages. Because I come from Russia, from Eastern Siberian part, and the local language is kind of disappearing. So I think there are some languages in the world that are like slowly disappearing, and I thought maybe it would be a cool idea also to combine that.
I think it is a cool idea to teach people languages that are dying. It's not what we're here for. So I think there's others who do that pretty well. For us, what we try to do is provide a good experience in the languages that we have. It's currently 14, and it's probably not extending too much over the next months or maybe even years, because after 10 years, we built a product that kind of works pretty well and that we can sell, and that people can learn a language with. But there's so much way to go to really build something that completely kicks ass, and technology is changing, that keeps us so busy. So I'm afraid saving languages is just not our cup of tea.
Thank you.
One more over in the center.
Hello. I really like using apps and similar offers or also recommend it to people as beginners or elementary or intermediate level. It kind of serves a good purpose. But then once you get to be kind of upper intermediate advanced, it seems like there isn't really an offer to really polish the language skills you already have. Is there anything happening within Babbel or with these partnerships that might address more advanced learners?
Yeah, we're discussing that again and again. And this gets rather specific in a field where I'd love to have teachers from Babbel on stage, but I'll do my best. The problem with intermediate and post-intermediate language learners is that the exercises become more and more complex and demanding. So entering longer texts is what people in apps don't really like. We tried that, and we have actually technology for that, but users are not really taking it up. With speech, that's still a struggle. We made a step up just right now, but that is where we not only meet tech problems, but also acceptance problems. I think for intermediate and especially post-intermediate learners, what we can do is train specific vocabularies and refresh stuff that they learned earlier. So it's an add-on tool. In the beginning, an app alone is fine. Over time, the more you progress in a language, the app becomes more an add-on to other things. That's at least how we see it.
Amazing. Thank you, Markus.
Thank you so much.